Okay, hi everybody, I'm Ileandra Young and this is part 10 of my video diary for Walking the Razor's Edge, second in the Saar's Legacy trilogy. Wow. It is the 29th of June. The kids have just gone to bed. In fact, if you listen very carefully, you will probably hear story time upstairs, but this is as good a time as any to let you know what I'm doing, I guess. So how am I getting on? Not badly, actually. Given that my last update was telling you that I'd finished the work on the primary timeline, that was Saturday, today is Monday, I've done a little bit of work on the secondary timeline, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Before this update, I had talked about scenes taking place in ancient Egypt, Alexandria, which makes sense because that's where Saar, our Egyptian vampire, is from. I also talked about scenes in the Wild West and in Norman Britain. Well, today, when I was sitting in Costa enjoying a lovely cup of chai latte, thank you very much, Costa, I was looking at the times, going through the timeline from 36 BC, where the action takes place after the Great Battle of Alexandria, and 1815 when Saar dies. Oh boy. Now, that's a lot of time. 36 BC through to 1815 is a long stretch of time, and I had scenes taking place in Norman Britain right at the start, so 1066, after Alfred showed up. Excuse me, I've got a really itchy nose. I'm so sorry, guys. Hay fever is driving me mad today. And I had scenes in the Wild West, and given what I told you last time about research required, I still don't actually know when, Wild West actually was, and it's not relevant now for reasons I will explain in a minute. And then I had the scenes taking place in Belgium in 1815 when the Battle of Waterloo took place. Now, that's all well and good. I wanted Saar to bounce, like my screen, to bounce through history a lot because that's the point. He's a vampire that's well-travelled, who spent a lot of time trying to find, bang, thud, trying to find the perfect humans required, or that he felt were perfect, to kickstart his army again, because he wanted to go back to Egypt to reclaim it. These aren't spoilers, by the way. I don't think they count as spoilers. Basically, by now, if you're not having read Silk Over Razor Blades, then I can't do nothing for you, okay? You should have read it by now. Read it, and then spoilers won't bother you. But yeah, basically, I wanted him to feature in lots of points in history because I thought that was interesting, and I have an interest in history, so the excuse to research these particular points in time was a good one. However, when I thought about it today, I realised that going from Egypt, so before Christ, by the way, because Jesus hadn't been born yet, so before Jesus to Norman Britain, that's 1,000 years, and then to 1815, which is another 800 years. I just thought those gaps are too long. Things would be happening in that time, and there must be stuff going on that would be interesting to set Saar against. So I rethought it and came up with some other ideas. So now, yes, I wanted some scenes to take place in England because, one, I live here, and two, all of Silk Over Razor Blades and Walking the Razor's Edge and On a Knife Point takes place in Leicester. The contemporary timeline is East Midlands, so I wanted some bits to take place as close to that as I could find because I thought it would be funny to make it a bit circular. So I've looked at 410 AD, which I understand to be about the time that the Romans pulled out of Britain, saying, do you know what, we've looked after you guys for long enough, you deal with all these invader folk and we're going back to Rome. And I thought actually that would be a nice time for Saar to be doing things, just because he has his own bone to pick with the Romans, considering it was a Roman force that came to Alexandria in the first place and flattened them all and killed his queen. So I thought that would be nice to put him there. And there is a scene which was originally in Norman Britain, which, now that I think about it a bit deeper, makes sense happening sooner. A lot sooner than 1066 or 1067, wherever I actually put it, much sooner than there. It's a reunion scene. I'm not saying any more than that, but I don't believe that these characters would have not met in the time that passed between Egypt and Norman Britain. So I've shifted that scene forward to 410 AD. There is another scene which I had originally put in the Wild West, which, again, considering the sorts of things I just about know are in the Wild West, like some guns and certain types of alcohol and the clothing, again, I think it's too far forward in time, so I've brought that back to 1009 AD, which is the Crusades. Yeah, religion, woohoo! Something I swore I'd avoid like the plague. But again, I think this is the sort of thing that Saar would be involved in. Obviously, he's Egyptian. He follows the old Egyptian gods. His power is from a god. That's why they're called God-touched. Why would he not be involved in something so important as the Crusades? So that span of time between 1009 and 1099, I believe, he's going to be mucking about with Christians and Muslims. Woohoo! Yeah, religion. Oh God, Illy, why? I don't know, because I like to punish myself. What this means, essentially, is that working through the secondary timeline is going to take longer than I thought it would, because I've picked points in history that I'm interested in, but I actually know very little about. So I'm going to need to knuckle down and do some pretty hard research just to make sure that I can make the scenes as authentic as possible. If I can help it, it's going to involve watching some films. I know that there are some films that I actually quite want to see anyway, which take place around the time of the Crusades. I think Kingdom of Heaven is a film that takes place during the Crusades, and First Night, maybe. Oh no, that might have been the Second Crusade, actually. Whichever, it doesn't matter. Excuses to watch good movies, yay! And of course to read proper sources and visit my library, which I don't need an excuse to do, but having an excuse makes it even easier to go. So that's what's going to be happening over the next couple of days. What this means for completion of this round of edits, I'm not sure yet, because I don't need to do so much research, because I need to be, pinpoint accurate as to locations and exact times, but I do need to know enough about those points in history that I can give the writing a good flavour and texture. It needs to feel authentic. That's quite important to me, particularly because this vampire was there, he experienced it, and he will have thoughts and feelings. So I need to make that as clear as possible with the text, which means I need to know as much as I possibly can. If I look at my original schedule that I wrote at the beginning of the year for getting this novel written up, I am behind. However, this point in time, according to the diaries, I should be converting all of my edits back into Scrivener, because at the beginning of the year I had planned to do these edits by hand. Thankfully, I'm not an idiot, so what I actually did was do the edits directly into Scrivener, which has worked perfectly. I mean, it's an example of how the program is supposed to work. So all the changes I've made, all the little tweaks, all the fiddling, every single piece of it is recorded in Scrivener. If I need to roll back, I can. If I need to just refer to what I changed, then I can do that too. It means I don't have to trawl through pieces of paper. It means I don't have to worry about losing said pieces of paper. I don't need to worry about being able to read my handwriting, because that's always an issue. It's perfect. So I think I have 2 weeks before I'm supposed to be handing off the novel to beta readers. Realistically, I don't think I'm going to make that. But it means I'm not as behind as I thought I was, so I don't need to panic. And frankly put, I'm not panicking anyway. It's interesting to see how reality matches with the super optimistic Ellie at the beginning of the year who made all these plans and thought, I'm going to do this at this time. And obviously, shit gets in the way. But never mind. Right, I can't think of anything else I wanted to tell you right now. That's the main big news. Massive changes to the points in history I'm looking at with the secondary timeline. With regards to everything else, that's it. If you haven't been to my blog recently, there is a new story on my blog. I haven't written something new for the blog for a long time, mainly because I've been focused on getting Walking the Razor's Edge sorted out. But there is a new piece of fiction there which you might be interested in. All of this month, June, I've been looking at zombies as a zombie creature. As a fantasy creature. Because I write fantasy, so I thought, hey, let's spend a month talking about fantasy creatures. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of that as the year goes on. But I'll let you guys in on this secret. What I'm actually hoping to do is each month that I talk about a fantasy character, I'm hoping to write a story at the end to go on the blog. So if you like zombies and want to see my take on zombies, then there is a zombie story on the blog waiting to be read. I don't know how good it is. It's a first draft. I wrote it yesterday at something like 9 o'clock, and then I watched Resident Evil as a reward. So it's had a little bit of tweaking, but not enough to the point that I would send it somewhere or something. Not at this point in time anyway. But I've put it there because that's what the point of the story was. I wrote it for that. So if you like zombies, go read it. If you don't, bugger it, don't. That's it. All the usual gaff. I don't know if you've noticed, but these videos are getting a little bit fancier because I'm getting used to editing them now. So there's like information and stuff at the end and silly outtakes with me doing stupid things. But if you want to get in contact with me, just to say, hi or shut up, whichever it is, all my information will follow the credits. And yeah, I will catch you next time whenever that is. Apparently, every 2 days. Because I'm getting used to making videos and talking to this tiny dot at the top of my laptop here. Yay. Oh god, that must have sounded awful because my microphone's up there as well. Sorry guys. Alright, see you next time. Bye. Read it.